It is time for Bart to come dropping in, complete with his background on a Monday. Well done, sir. Nice job.
Good morning, John.
Yes. I wanted to. So, do you want to start talking about the women's national team, and we drift into other things?
You might as well talk about it with me now, because otherwise you're liable to get angry, Bart. So let's talk about the women's national team.
Okay, so we'll get Dell wants Atlanta United first. So no, that's not going to happen, sir. We need authoritative Bart. Now, Will wants you to talk Atlanta. Dell wants you to talk Atlanta, but we're going to talk women's national team. Emma Hayes, the great unveiling. The great unveiling has happened, and it was a comfortable win. What'd you think?
Well, I think first off, I'm going to throw a little bit of a wet blanket on things and just say that South Korea is not a very good team, especially this iteration right now. Definitely not anywhere close to the team that qualified for the 2023 World Cup. And then they haven't been good since. So you do have to kind of look at this match from that lens. But at the same time, it's a team that is implementing something completely new. They're doing this thing called trying to score, which is, a complete, shift from what we had seen last summer. And that said, you had, as Emma said, tired minds, tired legs, still go out there and be able to score multiple goals in each half, which is a positive. I thought overall you just saw a team that, I know I'm not joking, but a team that was intent on trying to score goals, which is a difference from what we saw under the Vlatko era, because Vlatko was so dependent on eliminating risky opportunities that could lead yourself exposed to the back. So this new era looks to be an era of trying to attack, trying to score, coordinated, intentional attacking movements. And you saw all of that during the match. And again, not your best opponent, but it's not like you were trying to operate at your best, because all these players are still learning the system that Emma wants. Hopefully it's not super complicated, but the info dump of this week was probably heavy on their minds, because that's, it is weird, right? It is. If you were, say when you're looking at, I don't know, Atlanta United and the winner of 2025 for their preseason, they're going to get a lot of info dump when the new coach comes in and gives all that information, but they're going to have a month and a half to process it. And this team had to get all this and process it. I'm sure that, the training yesterday and today won't be easy either. So it's a lot that they're dealing with, and to put out 4 goals is pretty good.
Well, and I would think that as a part of the learning process under the new boss, you would want that, that soft launch, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, where you don't want to sit there and go up against the top 15 competition and sit there and get thumped when you're trying to introduce new ideas and a new coach and new vernacular and technology.
John, that's going to come in about a month, right? When they have to play Australia and Germany in their group stage at the Olympics. So yeah, you're right. It's good to get this out of the way against a not great South. And obviously, South Korea is a team that we've played a lot, and they're not usually at this down point. They've qualified for 3 straight Women's World Cups, but did not get it out of even their qualification group from Asia for this Olympics. Lost to their northern rivals. That probably can't sit too well with that federation. But you're right, though. You still have to look at the team that played, and they played very well, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, so Emma Hayes quoted as saying, "As we say in England, it's been a lovely week."
Bless her heart. I loved her quote about how she's like, I'm English, I'm dealing with altitude, I'm dealing with sun, I'm dealing with heat. And we forget that probably Denver, Colorado at this time of year is still hotter than England is. Definitely sunnier. So good for her dealing with that as well.
And 19,010 sold out crowd.
Sold out. Yeah, sold out. Love it.
Dick's Sporting Goods Park for the first one. And you end up with Jane Campbell getting the start in net. Your defenders lineup was a nice
Georgia girl, by the way. Yeah. Right to Marietta.
There you go. A nice longer Naomi Girma, Tierna Davidson, and Emily Fox. Your midfield 2, Sam Coffey, Lindsey Horan. And this is how Soccer America has
That's about how it played out. Yeah.
Compartmentalized everybody. Yeah. And then your forwards, Macario and Smith and Rodman and Swanson, and everybody's getting 5s and 6s and 7s. And it's like, okay, yeah. Well, Emily Fox gets a 4 apparently from our friends at Soccer America, and Jane Campbell got a 5. And then going to the bench where you were allowed.
Campbell, I will say Campbell did not. She had a chance and didn't look great. She didn't have a lot to do, and there were 1 or 2 times where she had to do something, and it wasn't fantastic. But the Fox one's a little curious to me, but oh well, keep going.
And then your bench where you were allowed 6 subs on the day. Kruger, Shaw, Stab, and Dunn each got 5s. Rose Lavelle got a 6, and Corbin Albert came in for a cup of coffee and got, I guess, basically an incomplete. So what did you think of who you saw?
Well, first off, congrats to Sam Staub getting her first cap for the U.S. Women's National Team. It's been a long time coming for her. She's been a really good center back in NWSL. So that's good. Everyone else, I thought they looked fine. Again, I think it's hard to truly evaluate everyone because you are talking about a team that's learning how individually what they're doing on the field, plus in a team setting and the little societies, what they're doing on the field. So I thought overall it was pretty good. And I think, yes, you score off of 2 headers from Tierna Davidson. I don't think anyone had that one necessarily predicted before the game.
No.
But weird that you hire an actual set piece coach and you start scoring off set pieces, John. So clearly that worked. Congrats.
Hashtag irony. Yes.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think overall it was good. The wet blanket is just, hey, South Korea is not fantastic, but overall, you have to look at this and say, this is a positive step. You get 4 goals to start off the Emma Hayes era. And hopefully you see more tomorrow night from just not necessarily growth, but just comfortability. I don't know what Emma's plan was for obviously Saturday, or you played Saturday. So Sunday is reach in and maybe a little bit of, info dump more, but I think it's probably more film review, look at what we did, what we liked, and kind of probably reinforcing the positives. Today is probably another, just a walk through light training session. So you're not getting a whole lot of new stuff, I would imagine. So hopefully you see tomorrow night making the goods better and making the bads fewer. And that's what the goal is.
Make the bads less bads.
Fewer bads.
Kat Macario got the start for the first time in 781 days.
Yeah, a little bit of surprise. I know we've kind of all grown to love Jaden Shaw in that advanced midfield role, but I think this was kind of like if you're doing an experiment, John, you want to have one control variable. Mm-hmm. And I think Kat being familiar with Emma's system was probably the control variable. Again, I'm not quite sure how Emma Hayes doesn't have she is not Gonzalo Pineda. She is not Greg Berhalter with their rigid system. But she does have patterns and philosophies that she wants to implement, which we saw. And I think Kat is a big part of that and why she started. But it's just good to have her back. I think she is one of the key injuries that we missed last summer. And you do have to wonder what would happen had Kat Macario been healthy in the summer of 2023.
Then the other element that was attached was the first game of the doubleheader. And it was a doubleheader, for those of you that did not know. It was a doubleheader there in Commerce City, Colorado. The women's deaf national team got their first ever home match, which sounds really wild to say. And yes, it was the margin of victory was big, but it was televised, and it was an effort that was put in there. I think Jamie Watson did play-by-play for the network. And it was a really cool moment for the advancement of the extended national teams to have the women's deaf national team get their first ever home match and then get the match televised at the front end of that doubleheader out there in suburban Denver.
Well, I think this is one of those things that when you consider the creation of the new National Training Center down in somewhere south of Atlanta, some undisclosed area that we all know of between Jonesboro and Fayetteville.
Yes.
This is one of those initiatives, right? That you want to try to elevate your extended national team programs. And this is one of them. Obviously, I think when you look at a deaf national team, the athleticism required to do this is no different than, the regular national team. You're just dealing with people who are deaf and hard of hearing.
Right.
And I think I was a little upset that U.S. Soccer scheduled this before the match, because I think that was why we didn't see a whole lot of people in the stands.
Yeah.
But it was good to have the ability to host matches like this. Because again, with the deaf women's national team, especially, they're, reigning World Cup champs. They've won a lot, and you want to be able to elevate those and continue to push those forward. So thanks to Arthur Blank for that donation to the training center to make those training pitches possible. But this is good. And if I can shout out some local people, AO member Lorena Baker is a deaf sign language interpreter. She's not deaf. She's a sign language interpreter. She's fully hearing. And she was part of the kind of coverage around all of this. She was behind the scenes, if you will. And then the referee who is on the field is also an AO member from the Nebraska chapters. So congrats to those players or those people. But, it takes a lot of good, hardworking folks to pull this off, not just on the field, but from behind the scenes, and credit to Turner for wanting to do that. And this is, John, again, the benefit of working with Turner Sports as really their only soccer property. You would not have got this with ESPN, and we know that Fox Sports was not going to give you this. So congrats to the deaf women's national team for getting a massive win, and congrats to everyone who worked to put this on.
Before we move in, what's the mug this morning, by the way? I've yet to ask you.
Make it happen, John.
There you go. Okay, so
you can determine what it is. I'll let the comments figure out what it is this morning.
Let's see. So ahead of the Premier League announcement of all men's players out of contract at their current clubs June 30, Arsenal is thanking players leaving them at the end of the month, and most of them are dudes that and it's actually it is both a men's and women's release.
That's my big takeaway from this, John, is on the main Arsenal account you had the men's and women's list together, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and so you had a couple of names that folks may know. Mohamed El Neni is probably one of the larger names that's attached. Arthur Okonkwo is on this, and so this means that Robin Ryan may be chasing after Okonkwo to sign him to a deal as they're now heading to League One. And Cedric Suarez also a part of the release discussions on going with three other players. And so big statement. You had the men's and women's teams simultaneously released on the Arsenal account.
Yeah, and obviously the big name on the women's side was Vivian Miedema, who I guess wanted a contract extension. The club wasn't willing to do that. Obviously, she's coming off an ACL injury of her own, and kind of unfortunate that we weren't able to make that happen. But sometimes that is the reality of a post-injury player. But yeah, I think it's cool that you're releasing both men's and women's, because they do run on similar cycles on terms of contracts, and why not make sure people know who's who on both sides. Obviously, the women's team now calls Emirates home. Mm-hmm. It is the club's home stadium, and trying to treat them both as one club, just two separate teams. That's awesome.
Yep. I wish I had some game show music for the second half of your segment, as Enzo Maresco is officially announced to be the new head coach at Chelsea, but that's not why I wanted the game show music.
Oh, was that announced?
Yeah, officially official.
Congrats on his 6 months in charge of the Premier League club.
Yeah, so officially official. It's been announced, and so Chelsea hires a Pep lookalike to try and have their team look like Pep's at Manchester City on the field. So I see what they were doing here. You hire a doppelganger so you can be a doppelganger. I see how that works. I wanted to go backward before we go forward and discuss what happened yesterday. I played the national version of the description, and it was obviously edited down for time and clarity. Otherwise, the extended recap with our friends at Apple TV probably would have gone about 14 minutes. But I want to go back inside the VAR studio with our friends at the PSRA, who are apparently the best of the best ever, and just ask them. This was the explanation that they gave. Of course, it was buried at Friday afternoon late. What you'll hear is the description of the events in the Mateus Bogusz action in the LAFC Atlanta United match that evolved into Dog So Red. You will hear the conversation with the VAR and with Sergi Boyko, the center ref, and you'll hear the discussion. So this is inside the VAR studio, and this was how they broke it all down with what happened with the Dog So Red for Brad Guzan. Here's the listen, courtesy of our friends at Pro.
Given when Brad Guzan attempted to clear a ball with his head and collided with LAFC's Mateus Bogus.
He appeared to be good.
No, it's incidental. No, I have a goal kick.
Yes.
No, goal
You
kick.
have time.
Goal kick. Ball is out. It wasn't it. Collide accidentally. But still, he didn't control the ball, Derek. Hey,
We're checking. We're checking.
Delay.
We're checking.
Goal kick.
Right now,
Yes, goal kick.
I just have.
Accidentally.
Look at this angle here. Just make this full screen for me. Roll it
But
back
it's still.
slow.
But it's still. Ball is out.
Do have an incidental
Kick.
contact.
It's not
He
a dog, so
does
ball is out.
slightly. He does come out a little bit. Look at this angle here.
Look
at
at
this. He just gets his leg out a little bit there.
Mateus, we
Check
check.
any other angles?
Yes, I have a front angle.
Difficult one.
Okay.
From my side, ball was too far from the attacker. And the second point, it was collision.
I mean, he stretches the foot out
Okay. Can we
towards the
just see where
player.
the ball is? Can we just see where the ball is when there's
So
contact
we're
made?
still checking.
Still checking.
Go frame by frame.
Look at that. Is there a move?
We still check.
I do see a slight movement. But
There
is
is
that
a
enough
movement
for the-
towards the forward, so your call. But
Any other angles?
We check.
Could use the
We check.
top, bottom left for you.
boom. I think there is an intent in that kick.
Still checking?
Yeah, no, I
Still
roll
checking.
back. I'm going to go with.
As a heads up, there's also a possible offside at the start of that. Just
Okay,
as a FYI.
just check the APP.
Yes.
Sergey,
Can you-
we're going to recommend a review for possible dog so. We're just going to check the APP now. We've recommended a review for possible dog so.
Okay.
Back 3 seconds. Okay, Sergey, we see Brad Guzman, we do this collision,
Yes.
and then I see his right leg come out, and it's a trip in motion. We see here, he makes the header, and then I see his right
Look
leg
ahead.
come out and catch him on the attacker's knee.
But ball is too far from the attacker. Can you give me full speed of side camera?
Okay, give him the right 18, full
Yep.
speed.
Right 18 at full speed. Coming in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
just one camera.
Full speed. Can you give me full speed?
Yep.
Okay, go back about 3 seconds.
Yes, I go.
I believe the attacker's still got an opportunity to get the ball if he wasn't challenged by Guzan.
Can you freeze when it was a fall?
Okay, just
Can you freeze when it was a fall?
No, go back to when it was fouled.
Yes, right here. This is
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
There is speed on the ball, but I think without this challenge here, I think he would have got that ball.
I can put in high end zone again.
Do you need to see any other angles, Sergey?
Okay, now.
Guzan had deliberately moved his leg to trip Bogus. The foul was clear and outside the penalty area, so the only reason the VAR can intervene is for a possible red card for Dogso. Direction, defenders, distance were all present. There is an argument that the speed of the ball was too great for likelihood of control. However, had there been no offense, the VAR believed that Bogus would have continued moving towards the ball, caught up with it, and then have an open goal to shoot at. After judging it for himself, the referee agreed and sent off Guzan after the review. That's all for week 16. Comments for the rest of the reviews.
So that was the rationale and what you heard, the individuals that you heard.
Well, first off,
Yeah.
thanks for playing. I do enjoy listening to the VAR audio.
Yes.
But yes, let's talk about the individuals on this call.
Okay, so the individuals on the call, your center ref is Sergi Boyko. You may hear the ARs, Logan Brown and Ben Pilgrim. Your fourth was Tori Penso. The VAR was David Barry, the main voice that you heard in the conversation with Sergi Boyko. The AVAR was Joseph Batko, who did contribute in the conversation, but the main voices you hear are Sergi Boyko, the man in the middle, and your VAR, David Barry. Go.
We've talked a lot on this show about how the Brits don't do VAR very well. And here we have a British VAR telling the center ref the call that he once made.
Mhm.
And that's what I took out of this audio. Wasn't that Sergi they said, hey, Sergi, like, yeah, we definitely see a foul. Because I think that's fair. Like, you have to go through and say, was there a foul? And I think we agree that
the case can be made.
It's more than incidental contact. Let's put it that way. And they do go through, and I think the point that I have a problem with here is that you bring the case to the referee of, hey, we need you to check this. We think that there is a clear and obvious red card here. You hear Sergi talk through that and say, I don't think that's close enough for me. The VAR says, well, it is for me, basically. And that to me doesn't sit right, because that's not his job.
You're leading the witness at that point.
Yes. I think that was a bad case of VAR trying to referee a match.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sergi definitely said, oh, it's not close enough for me. But then he does ask, like, well, but give me the offside camera, which is a fair request of like, hey, right at that angle, it's not. You look at the offside camera at the point of contact, it does look like the ball is within playing distance, right? And so, again, I think they ended up getting to the right call. I just think that it was very clear that David Barry, because he's British and knows more about soccer than every other human alive, tried to coach this center referee into making the call he wanted to be called.
Which is what you are not supposed to do, right, because you're re-refereeing the game at that point.
Right. That's what the Brits do, John. They re-referee via VAR. And that's the problem. Get them all out of soccer. I think if we got every British person out of soccer, the game would be better.
So then you want the VAR for the Premier League to be away from the PGMOL, and you want it to be in office in Dallas, is what you're saying. Let the Colonials be the ones who are calling VAR, right?
Yeah. Why not?
The idea, so run through the 4 Ds one more time when it comes to VAR.
Defenders, distance, direction.
Okay.
So defenders, Brad's the last man back. It's very clear. There are some trailing defenders running through, but they're not part of the play until Bogusz is sprawled out on the ground. Distance to a goal, distance to the ball, and direction of play. So again, direction of play, they're heading toward goal. We talked about this last week. It's not an obvious goal. It's a goal scoring opportunity, and the play is heading toward goal. You're not far. You're 20 some yards out from goal. All 3 of those are met. The distance of the player to the ball, AKA, are they able to make a play on the ball, is the one that, and they admit this in the VAR, review video that we just listened to.
Mm-hmm.
That was the questionable, the debatable piece here, right? Where was the player actually going to be able to make a play on the ball? I think you have to realize that probably he could have been able to catch up to the ball,
even after getting a facial from short distance and reacting the way that he does, going backwards and almost falling down.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could have got to the ball.
Okay.
And therefore, the ball's still in play, and it's a goal-scoring opportunity.
Okay.
I think that's a reasonable thought. Now, you could also say, no, there's no way. We don't know, because Brad decided to trip him. And that's where you can't – it's hard to now judge when the last defender has, by judgment of the VAR, and I think the referee on the field, fouled that player.
Okay.
It's hard to judge.
Right. So then this is where, once again, when I bring you in to do reffing down here, what I always like to do is, okay, give me a reason why, give me a reason why not.
Yeah.
So understand both approaches in a particular way.
Again, I think they got this call correct, but I have to defend referees as much as y'all defend Gonzalo Pineda. So sit for that.
There's the shot. Okay. All right. So let's go back to yesterday. And I'll play the national clip again. Like I said, it is edited for time, not necessarily for clarity. And we will go over the national call yesterday. Atlanta United leading 1-0. It's a corner for Charlotte in the 41st minute. Once again, here's the call from our friends at Apple TV and Major League Soccer on MLS Season Pass. It is Danny Higginbotham, Steve Cangelosi on the call. Here was the play in front of the supporters section.
It is Uranen once again. On the outswinger, this takes a deflection. Cohen did it cross the line. A partial celebration in progress, but no indication yet that this is a goal.
Have a look. And it will probably be this angle. And you just have to look at Cohen's left hand. When he goes for it, his hand is completely over the line as in terms of in the goal. It's a valiant effort, but I do know. The interesting thing in this situation is we know that VAR, they think it's a clear and obvious error. But there is no goal line technology. So the angles that we're going to see here are the angles that the referee's going to see. And it's so tough. So what...
After review, the ball did cross the goal line. The final decision is a goal.
All right, so clear and obvious error is what you're chasing here for a reversible call. When asked about it after the match, Josh Cohen said he thought that he got his hand up before the full ball crossed over the line. My issue.
I'm sorry, John. I'm going to pause everyone.
I know, but I mean,
of course, Josh Cohen thought about that. I'm sure Saba thought that he scored that break, that 1v1 with the keeper, but he didn't. Okay.
So, all right. So, you're going to say those things. I understand that. My point in this, and I've held this on purpose. I didn't want to say what I was thinking going into this particular action. Danny Higginbotham in that call mentions that there is no goal line technology. Mm-hmm. I do not know how Timothy Ford, the VAR, and I am waiting for Friday News Dump once again to see if this makes it in to inside the VAR studio, because there was no shot down the line. There was no the FAR AR kept his flag down, made no motion to have a conversation at all about this. So the AR doesn't do anything. Let's play continue. There is no shot down the line. Danny Higginbotham admits that there is no goal line technology, which we all know once they took away the target goal cam, we haven't had it since. I'd love to know if there was an angle that we did not see, which goes counter to the idea of having the VAR camera in the booth in the first place, if they're seeing things that we're not supposed to, because we're supposed to see the entire review, if I'm not mistaken. There are too many things here that do not add up to clear and obvious error and how you can overturn a call because you don't have the shot down the line.
The VAR had access to an angle that provided sufficient evidence that the ball crossed the hole of the goal line.
Follow-up. As Doug Robertson from the AJC said, follow-up. What angle was that? And I know that you're only allowed to ask the question one time.
Yeah, you can only ask one.
So it is in the phraseology of the question where it could have been asked. You could have taken the verbiage of the follow-up and framed it in the question. But now we're left with the notion of, okay, well, which angle was it?
And that's the problem, is there wasn't an angle that showed the ball is clear, because even the angle we get that probably is the best angle to show that it most likely went in crossed the line. There's no way to clearly and obviously show that the ball crossed the goal line.
Are you talking from behind? Are you talking from behind the
No,
goal?
the angle that still shows it's about as down the line as we're going to get, and it does look. It looks like the ball went into the goal, like it does. However, again, as Jarrett loves to talk about, because he's right, we're talking about a sphere crossing a cube, mm-hmm. And these things are not congruent. They do not match up evenly, and it's tough to say that was a clear and obvious mistake by the on-field officiating crew. It sucks because, as Jason pointed out in the post-match, the full-time report, that changed the game.
It did.
But what also changed the game was Atlanta United not putting away its chances that it had in the first half.
Understood.
And I'm just, as much as you can look at the referees and blame them, John, I'm not going to sit here and try to use that as an excuse that Atlanta United failed to win its 6th game in a row at home. I'm just, I will say just up front, like, yes, I think the referees did not apply the laws of the game well here, and they did not apply the protocols and processes of VAR well here. But you also gave up 2 more goals. You also failed to capitalize on the momentum you had built in the first half because, despite starting off really well, you didn't get your first goal until 30 minutes into the game. And to look at the referees and say you're the reason for this result is, again, a mentality that's the reason that we haven't won but one game in the last 11.
Okay, well, what I am trying to do when we do this is I am separating on purpose. I'm separating the game action and game state. I'm putting it to the side. I'm specifically wanting to discuss what officials are going through, why they can call it a certain way, why they can't call it a certain way or shouldn't, why they should or shouldn't, I guess is probably the better way to phrase it. Why a call should be one way, why it could be another way. Walk folks through it so they can understand the rationale, but at the same time understand that there are flaws in the system that we need to continue to discuss because apparently these are the best referees on the planet. Just ask.
Well, I think the problem for me legitimately is that you had a AR who at this point probably was, if not on, close to the line because it was a corner kick, who should have had the best angle of anyone to determine if it was a goal or not.
Our side, yeah.
And to refute his eyes, his professionally trained, experienced eyes, for a camera angle that doesn't definitively show you anything is a failure of the system because again, there's no angle that shows if the ball physically, we don't have a goal line cam. We don't have goal line technology. We don't have any of those things, right? At best, because the angle from behind the goal is not a good angle either because you can't tell
where it is in relation
where it is.
Playing, yeah.
And to Higginbotham's point, just because Cohen's hand is fully across the line does not mean the ball is. I had this happen as an AR, I don't know, at least twice a game where a player is fully standing out of bounds, but the ball ain't. Because, if they're out of bounds, but if they're only a full inch over the line, well, the ball ain't fully over the line then.
And that's another call that I think we see a lot where you'll see a keeper run around a ball and he'll go out beyond the end line and he'll come charging back in with possession and everybody's sitting there going, like Joey and friends going, And it is the ball that matters. The person does not matter. It is the ball.
Doesn't matter one bit. This is not basketball. This is not football. This is for us, the ball is what matters.
And so what I've wanted to try and accomplish with reffing down here is walk us through it because you have the experience of calling all of the matches, but to understand that there are issues that need to be addressed, specifically goal line technology, specifically
I think I don't even think of it as a goal line technology. It's definitely either an overhead or a down the line camera, right? Why we don't have a camera on both goal lines, I blame NYCFC for some reason. Probably they can't do it in Yankee Stadium, and so that's why we can't do it across the league. But no, every league in this, even if you're talking about like Charlotte, Seattle, and Atlanta, surely they would a lot of these are NFL stadiums that would, they would want a close to down the line shot of an end zone, so being able to put that on your goal line, or at least as close to it as possible. I don't know why that isn't possible. I don't know why MLS can't make that happen because goals are the single most important action in this game. And that's why VAR only applies to goal, game deciding plays, and most of those outside of a red card involve a goal. So it's frustrating that you don't have the proper tools to execute VAR properly,
right?
In a league that
is a top
most of the time does it well.
Yeah, as a top 10 league internationally, and you do not have the technology that England does. And can lay it all out for us, whether it's Cyclops or the fancy computer generated stuff that we get to watch.
I would like, and this is where our MLS reporters are going to actually have to do some reporting is go ask what that technology costs. Because obviously it's a chip inside of the ball, and then a watch on a referee. What does that technology cost? Is it more than just the ball and the watch? What else goes into it? FIFA uses, as you mentioned, that Cyclops technology as in tennis, as we all remember from the 2023 World Cup, that Ellison Ayers' save was judged to not be a save because of a Cyclops technology. And we can have our issues with that, but FIFA had the technology to at least be able to come to what they felt was a definitive claim. Others, I don't know, John, if you watched any, but they have a new women's professional volleyball league, and they don't have line judges. They just have Cyclops on the court, similar to tennis. They have an up ref, a down ref, but they don't have line judges because it's all Cyclops, similar to the way tennis does now. So clearly that the technology exists to the point where entire leagues are using it. Leagues that, especially in the case of a pro volleyball federation, nowhere close to the revenue that MLS has at this point.
Yeah.
So, what are we using this Apple money on, if not to get calls right as much as possible?
Hutch with a question for you. Where would you place a chip in or on a ball that wouldn't cause a problem?
Ask Nike. I don't know, man. It's inside. I don't know how to explain it to you other than it's inside the ball. It's not like it's, I don't know, it's inside the ball.
Katie, we did solve this ages ago. Pitching MLS having a ring cam. If you just had ring, and if it goes past a certain point, ring gets activated, it gets within if you have ring down the line and it gets past the goal line, then the ring goes off, and then you get to hear it throughout the stadium. I think I think your sponsorship is locked if you get ring to do it.
Yeah,
something like that. But
isn't that what they do in hockey? Isn't that or is that different?
That's they don't have. I don't think they have ring per se, but I mean they have. They have the goal.
They have a camera that goes literally right down into the goal.
Yeah, they have the camera behind the
Obviously,
net.
it's a slightly smaller goal, so it's a little bit easier. But yeah.
So, I mean, they have the goal cam that's about about a 3x3 square, and that it goes behind the goal, and then they also have elements where they can sit there and look at it straight down, and they can sit there and say, okay, is there any space in between the puck and the goal line? Yep. And if there is ice, which is white, and the goal line being red and the puck being black, if they see white in between, oh no, it's a goal. So that's where we are. But yes, I
blame NYCFC.
There you go. So what else is going on with Soccer for USPOD and anything else that we need to know about, sir?
Well, we've got another U.S. women's game tomorrow, so we'll record after that. And then we've got 2 men's games coming up after that. So we are going to be very busy.
Good.
Heading into Copa America, and then busy during Copa America, and then busy during the Olympics. So it's going to be a very busy couple months for me in not just podcasting form, but also soccer organization leader form.
Oh?
Yeah.
Soccer organization leader form, Bart's going to be busy?
Yeah. I don't know if you heard, but Atlanta's hosting a U.S. men's national team game on Thursday, June 27th. So
yes, that is absolutely true. That is that I am aware. So it will be a very, very busy time here as the summer of soccer and the city of Atlanta and the Southeast overtaking the soccer planet just starts with Copa America coming up in short order, with Argentina and Canada kicking things off at the Copa inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium in front of about 10 or 12 people or so. So it'll be fun. Do I want to know how many car payments you made to pay for those tickets?
I don't have a car payment anymore, so that's how my car is paid off.
How many months rent did you sacrifice?
Not that many, just like 2.
Okay, just checking. Thank you, my friend, for walking us through everything and answering all of my silly questions when it comes to the reffing aspect of things and having us understand thought processes and clear and obvious and VAR and walking us through these kinds of things, because I want folks to understand what they're walking into every single time that they watch a match and can understand the rules of engagement and what you can and can't do and what you should and shouldn't do. Thank you for coming on, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. It wasn't pleasurable yesterday watching our team not win for a 6th time in a row at home.
Understood. And so we will continue.
But hey, it's all fine as long as just the players start finishing, because that's been the secret to success is they just magically finish one game and they don't other games. So maybe that'll change.
Gets the shot. There you go. You got your shot in. Be well, my friend.
Bye, y'all.
That's Bart. And that's Bart on a Monday.